How you doing, guys? Welcome to DJTV. I'm Daryl Lee and I'm joined by a very good friend of mine, Slim D.
Nice one, thanks for having me.
No worries, bro. How you doing? All well out there? Today's subject, I want to talk about this because I've seen it pop up now on quite a few groups on social media, and it's all about turntables, CDJs and controllers. And what the issue is something that's been going on now for quite some time now. For quite a long time, actually, to be fair. And it's the misconception of the old school DJs turning around saying to the newer style DJs, you're not a DJ until you can DJ on a set of turntables. And I think what they've picked that up from is because obviously with turntables you need a lot of skill to be able to beat match. And with the newer type of equipment going out at the moment, it practically does it for you. What do you think? What do you think about that sort of debate there?
Well, it's a debate that will be going on for a long time. You've got the old school DJs that come from a period of time where it was all about collecting vinyl and mixing with vinyl, mixing on turntables. For them, it was a very expensive hobby. When I say for them, including myself as well, I'm from a generation where I started off DJing on vinyl. I used to love collecting records, vinyls, and I spent untold money on vinyls. Spent so much money on vinyls that my clothes used to be scruffy trainers and all that malarkey. Because you spend your last pound on that latest tune. You had to have the latest tune. So for me, mixing on vinyl, I used to love it. When it started turning into sort of mixing on CDJs in the clubs, it sort of broke my heart basically, because it was like all these vinyls that I collected over these years now became redundant. And with that, there was many things as well, but you've got to move forward with the times.
Yeah, definitely.
And if anything, mixing on CDJs has made it easy for a lot of DJs, including myself. And
and I mean, you did have that. It was like every Friday you'd get paid sort of thing, or you'd get a bit of money every Friday, and it was becoming sort of like what do you want to call it? You'd go every Friday, wouldn't you, down to the record shop?
It started off with my pocket money, to be fair. Dad, Mum, can I have some money?
Yeah, you know. So like, I mean, it came sort of like a little chore.
Down to the record shop.
A little chore to go down to the record shop every Friday, or maybe even a Saturday. You'd get a big bunch of records, and you'd say, like, I love that. You'd go up to the record, and then you start playing your record.
Yeah.
It was a thing. And now, obviously, you don't have that. You just literally go onto like a DJ pool, or you get sent a certain amount of tunes from there, and you sort of like download it, really. But I think personally that the quality in vinyl is better. Don't get me wrong. The quality, I personally think, I'm sure you agree, we've both been DJs of 20 years.
Yeah, you always get that authentic sound with vinyl.
Yeah,
you always
definitely.
get that nice warm sound.
Yeah, and even with those little crackles as well sometimes, I just think it's just a nice little artifact to actually have on a record as well.
Yeah,
It just brings out that vintage vibe. And I mean, obviously you got with the MP3s and the WAVs, you've got that it's nice clear quality, but you can hear digital compared to analog. And the facts that, I mean, you got the old school DJ saying you're not a DJ until you've DJ'd on a set of turn. I can see where they're coming from in a way with that, because, yeah, as we mentioned earlier, that you do need a lot of skill to actually get the record in time and to beat match, where the CDJs and the controllers, they kind of do it for you, really. You've got sync buttons and stuff like that. And with the newer DJs now coming up in the scene, they're not getting that experience in regards to turntables, are they?
The thing is, they don't have to. You just literally learn how to mix on a set of CDJs or controllers, and long as you know how to beat match, whether you're doing it manually or you're pressing the sync button, I reckon it just doesn't matter for them, as long as they're beat matching, playing good tunes for the crowd and so forth, or to their people, they're playing good tunes. What does it matter? And that's what it is like now, because, and for us, especially where I'm from, the older generation of mixing with vinyls, it's like, well, I've had to learn the skill I've had to hustle and bustle and sort of
carry record boxes to clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, back in the day as well, the crowd used to be, they wasn't so forgiving. If you sort of clanged a tune, you would hear the crowd go, ooh, or they'll make up some sort of noise, or you get someone shouting, what kind of mixing is that? It's never happened to me personally, but I've definitely seen it happen.
Sure.
I think I had that bit there. But yeah, you had to know how to DJ. But what I also love about back in the day as well, people noticed when you was a good DJ. They noticed when you was mixing good and so forth. And even like promoters, they will book you for your talent, not because you could sell tickets or stuff like that. They used to book you because you was a good DJ and you knew how to mix on those turntables, you know.
Yeah.
But like I said, the current times are now mixing them with digital technology, CDJs, controllers. You see people mixing from their laptop really, and I think what it's all about. It's all about the sound that comes out. That's what it's about mainly. You don't get people coming up to you anymore behind the decks to say, "Oh, you're mixing on CDJs or you're mixing on controllers." Going back to that sort of transition period where people was converting from turntables to CDJs, people used to come up to you from the crowd and go, "Oh, you're not a DJ, you're not mixing on vinyls." And you used to say to them, "Well, I've got vinyls at home, I've got decks at home, but I'm here now and I'm mixing up on the club's equipment and they're CDJs."
People don't know that, you know, and we've moved along with the times now. And I mean, like yourself, I mean, I've been DJ for 20 plus years now, and I loved the the vinyl days, the turntable days. I loved it. I didn't love lugging around record boxes and stuff like that. That's the part of it I hated, but that was all part of it. But now we've moved into a newer generation now. We've even moved away from CDs now, so we don't even play CDs anymore. So it is all MP3 sticks, like, you know.
Yeah,
you can fit thousands of music on a USB. We've moved away from it now, and to be fair, I've moved along with the times like yourself, and I'm happier how things are now. Yeah, you know, they do have the sync buttons on there. They are there to help you with the newer DJs, but to be fair, the bottom line is, as long as you're playing the right music, you're getting the crowd bumping. That's all that matters, really, isn't it?
Well, that's all that matters these days. People, like you say, as long as you're playing the right tunes and you're playing to the crowd, people are loving it. It's not an issue no more, is it?
No.
And to be honest, I was thinking on my way down to the studio today. It's either I'm mixing too perfect, or people don't notice the mix.
Yeah.
You know, like back in the day, people used to come up to you and go, "Oh, what a good mix," or whatever. But you don't really get that. Is it because it's just standard to have to just do a good mix, or people just not noticing it as they used to back in the day?
Either that, or we're getting too good.
It's either that. It's just, people just not noticing, just not
noticing. We're getting too good at our jobs. No, but I mean, yeah. As I say, with it, down to even the controllers now. If we was just to say the controllers, again, they're completely different to the CDJs now.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm against controllers. It's not my thing. I know why people love them, and I can see why people like to use them and so forth. But personally, for me, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Let me give more meat on the bone on that. Basically, the reason why I don't like it, I prefer to have CDJs, like be in control. If one CDJ goes faulty while you're live, you could take that CDJ away and you can put one in, and no one has to know about it. Yeah. But if a controller goes faulty, everyone knows about it. You know?
That's right, and not only that, you need a laptop for the controller to work as well. So
exactly.
If you've forgotten to
bring a charger,
or you plug your charger in, but you forgot to turn the switch on, then you know your laptop's going to run out at some point, and there's no saving that. You've not got no backup, so you've got to wait 10 minutes for it to load up the program.
It's sort of faffing around as well. The laptop, you've got to remember the laptop. You've got to bring your charger. You've got to make sure the cables are working. It's just too much faffle. I prefer CDJs. Just bring my USB stick, plug it in.
I'm in agreement with you on that one. Yeah, I'm not a massive controller fan myself, and there's hundreds of people out there, hundreds of DJs out there, shall I say, that have gone to the controller route, and not only that is they're cheaper.
I think they're more cost effective.
Yeah.
It's easy to start out on a set of controllers. Like you say, they're a bit more better for the budget, especially for DJs starting out. But it has become very popular, and to be honest, I don't think it's affecting the CDJs, to be fair, because you've got the DJs that prefer CDJs. But me looking at a DJ, I'd rather see him mixing with CDJs or turntables.
And
that's my preference.
Yeah,
really.
no, definitely, I totally agree with that. And another thing is, if you're a club DJ, the industry standard is CDJs, isn't it? Really, whereas before the industry standard was a set of turntables.
Turntables, yep.
But obviously we've moved from that era now, and we're now in the CDJ area and controller. But again, as I said, the industry standard, if you go to most clubs, I'm not going to say all of them because I don't know them all, but I would say probably 98% of clubs and bars these days are all CDJs.
Yeah,
you're not going to get a controller in a bar unless you're a DJ and you bring that controller to the club.
That's it.
So yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. I'm more of a CDJ and turntable kind of guy. I don't really focus too much on controllers. Have you used a controller before?
I have twice. I wasn't really fond of it, to be fair, but it was there at the time. I just had to deal with the situation, and it was fun to mix on. Don't take me wrong. I see why people like them and so forth. They are easy, but for me, my preference is definitely using CDJs.
Yeah, they are a good bit of kit. Yeah, I've used them myself as well, but yeah, I'm 100% with you on that one. I'm not a massive lover of the not the CDJ, but the controller. Not a massive lover of it. But there is a lot of people out there that do like them, and enough respect to those people out there.
To be honest, each their own. It's just like driving a car. Really, it's like you like one particular car, like a sports car. You might like a convertible. You might like, a hatchback. It's whatever works for yourself, really. But my preference.
No,
CDJs.
no, definitely, and if you're a controller DJ out there, but you can still rock a crowd, big respect goes out to you, really. I mean, at the end of the day, the bottom line is, debate doesn't really matter, even though it's going to go on for many, many years. The bottom line is, as long as you can rock a crowd, it doesn't matter really what you're DJing on.
Yeah.
Whether it be turntable, whether it be CDJ, whether it be a controller, it doesn't matter what you're DJing on, as long as you can rock that crowd.
Yeah, the thing is, going back more in depth, basically, when DJs used to mix on vinyls, they used to be sort of specialists, They used to collect vinyls in depth. They used to spend money on vinyls, Like, I've been to certain DJs' house, and like, you go into one room of theirs and it's just vinyls wall to wall, and they'll have a vast collection of vinyls, and they were specialists on what they'd done. They knew what they was talking about. They knew what the record labels was about. They knew what the artists were about. They knew what they was playing. They used to buy imports, and stuff like that. It's just, and a lot of DJs as well, like, made a lot of tunes happen, especially like the pirate radio DJs. Made them commercial, and then all the mainstream radio started playing them and stuff like that. Now it's just so easy for people to get tunes now, which is probably good for the producers and so forth. But it's just so easy to get your hand on a song, and you could download a song within what, 3 minutes. You search for it, type it in.
And there's so many variations.
Listen to it.
So much variations of genres to pick from, and you've got thousands of songs out there. There's tracks that have probably come out about 10 years ago that me and you may not have even heard.
Yeah.
And it's a great track. I mean, it's so overcrowded and overpopulated, I think, with the MP3s at the moment. Whereas, as you said, going back onto the vinyl days, you had the lacquer guy, you had the dub guy that actually put the record on and put it onto record.
Yeah.
You had the so many different industry people to work on that one piece of vinyl.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's just, you got your producer, you make the tune, you send it to the label puts it out.
Yeah,
It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can see why there's so many tracks out there on MP3 at the moment.
Yeah, no,
because you've lost a big, massive chain of industries.
Yeah, you're right in saying that, because when they stop producing vinyls, like you say, people that make the sleeve alone, like what they lost work. People that produce the wax, they lost work. The record companies, people, the record shops. You know, like there used to be loads of record shops. I used to love travelling to record shops just to see what they've got inside, and they're not there no more. You know, you could spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours at a record shop, and you're just there looking at vinyls. You're talking to the person, to the salesperson behind the counter and so forth. And plus you meet other DJs, or you might meet other.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, you can sort of network better with, because you're meeting up with other DJs as well, and you can network better. That's a good point, actually.
No, definitely.
So the networking, so even down to that networking, you met DJs, whereas obviously if you've got music being sent to you, or you're just going onto the DJ pool downloading music, which is a great thing to do, by the way.
It is. Makes life easier.
You're not networking with people though. You're not meeting other DJs.
No.
You're not going out for a few hours chatting and stuff like that. Networking, and that other DJ could be a promoter as well, and he could be like, I'll tell you what, give us a demo, which again we used to record on TDK sometimes.
Cassette tapes.
Yeah, give us a demo, and I'll have a little listen to it. If you're any good, then I'll put you on the bill. But you don't get that anymore either. So that's another reason why DJs are probably saying that. You're not a proper DJ until you've DJ'd on the set of turntables. So there's so many reasons out there.
The thing is, for new DJs coming up, they're not going to experience what we've experienced, and that's whether they're 18 years old. They could be a new DJ starting up, and they could be 50 years old. Taking on a new hobby. It doesn't matter what age you are. Like you're just a new DJ starting up. This is their time, or they got to move with. They're in with the times. They're in with what's happening right now. And they're going to see either controllers or they're going to see CDJs. So they're not going to go, I want to go back in time and mix on vinyl. Yeah. They're not going to do that. So
exactly. So if your son come up to you and said, Dad, I want to learn how to DJ, what would you do? Would you chuck him a set of turntables, or would you...
That's a good question.
Yeah. So what would you do?
I think teach them on both.
I think I would as well. I mean, if he come up to me and he said, look, Dad, I want to learn how to DJ, the first thing I would say to him, I would plonk a record deck in front of him and say, right, you beat match on that, I'll show you how to do it. Once you get good on that, then we move on to the next stage. Because that's how it was, wasn't it, really? Once you was able to beat match on that, I mean, when I first started out, it was turntables, but I was on a pair of belt drive decks.
Belt drive decks, the struggles on the belt drives.
That's what I started on, and then I got good on those, and then I moved up to 1210s.
All right, let's elaborate on that, on what you just said there. Right, so you started off on belt drives.
Yeah.
Okay, so why did you start off on belt drives? Is it because you couldn't afford the direct drives, the good turntables, or?
And that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. Okay. So for DJs starting up now with not much budget, what are they going to go for?
Yeah, of course they're going to go for the controllers, aren't they?
Or the lower end spec of the CDJs. So it's just a starting out point.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a starting out point. And to be honest, I had, if I remember, one turntable was there was both belt drives, but there was different makes. Yeah, and I had my mixer. My 4-channel mixer, and I don't even want to go into that mixer that I had that started off, but it was a starting point, Yeah. And I was collecting my records, like I said, spend all my pocket money on vinyls and stuff like that. But I just always knew that I wanted to be a DJ, and that's where I started off from, mixing on these belt drive. I don't think they even had like the proper pitch controls on it. They had it did say pitch on it, and but it was a weird way. It wasn't made for DJing.
Some of them were at the side and some of them at the bottom.
Yeah, no, this was at the bottom, but they wasn't made for DJing. But that's what I learnt on.
Yeah.
And then, as I got older, as I could afford it, I bought my first sort of DJing turntables. But there was again belt drive.
Yeah.
There was belt drive again.
Yeah. So you made a really good point there in regards to, why did you buy the belt drives over the direct drives? And the simple fact is I was just starting out like yourself, and they was the cheaper option to go for. So I always wanted to DJ, but then I just needed to make sure that was the route that I wanted to do. I wanted to be a DJ, so I bought the cheaper version just to make sure, because there was no point buying expensive, realising, you know what, actually I don't want to go down that route, and having to the whole rigmarole of trying to sell them off. So yeah, I mean, it's the same as in today's market now, where with the controllers, people are going for the controllers because obviously it's cheaper. Over the CDJs, and you know, the new CDJs at the moment. When we talk about CDJs, I'm talking about Pioneer, because I'm going to be biased here. I am a Pioneer DJ, and if I'm talking about turntables, I'm talking about Technics. It's as simple as that. I'm sure you're probably the same.
I definitely agree.
So I'm Pioneer all the way. So I mean, the new Pioneers at the moment, they're so expensive, even they're way out of my budget, to be honest. You know.
Gonna have to sell an arm and a leg for them.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm happy with my CDJs at the moment, and you know, I probably will upgrade at some point. But for now, I'm happy with what I've got. And I think the whole debate really is it should be chucked out the window. Really, it's just a case of going back to that. You know, if you can mix, great. If you can rock a crowd, even better. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, isn't it?
Well, I think I definitely agree with you on that one, but it can be a gimmick at times as well. Like, you get a famous person and suddenly they're a DJ, and there are sort of action shots where you see they're not really DJing, but they're just standing behind the decks, and it's just a good look for the crowd and so forth, even if they're doing it or not. And to me, that is just a bit, you know, a bit wrong.
A bit crazy, I've seen a few celebrities out there as well, you know, just jumping on the bandwagon as such, you know, just, I don't know if it's filling the times or just filling in the gaps or what, I'm not quite sure what, but you do get them out there, to be fair.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Okay. All right, we'll wrap that up there then. So thank you very much for tuning into today's episode. Hopefully we'll have another episode. We're going to try and do this monthly for you, so maybe the first or the end of the month. But we'll wrap it up there. If you've got any comments or you've got any opinions yourself, leave it down in the comments, and we'll run through those both together, and we'll have a little debate between ourselves. But this is a massive thing that's probably going to go on for, would you agree, probably many more years to come anyway. So it's just one of those things that's just going to carry on to be
untold.
So, But anyway, once again, thank you very much for tuning into today's show, and God bless, take care, and we'll see you again next week.